Story 1. The Clown Who Knew Too Much. It was my 10th birthday, and I was beyond excited. My parents had gone all out, renting a local community hall and inviting every kid from my class. The highlight of the party, for me, was the clown. Not just any clown, but a professional. Highly recommended by a friend of my mom's. He arrived in a beat-up old van. His face already painted, a wide, unsettling grin stretching from ear to ear. He was tall, even for an adult, and his costume, while colorful, seemed a little too worn, a little too faded. At first, he was great. He made balloon animals, told jokes, and even did a few magic tricks that genuinely impressed us. But then, things started to get weird. He began to tell stories, not just generic funny stories, but anecdotes that seemed eerily specific to the kids in the room. He knew about Timmy's missing pet hamster, a secret only Timmy and his immediate family knew. He mentioned Sarah's fear of spiders, something she had only confided in her best friend. He even brought up a minor argument I'd had with my parents that morning. A private conversation that no one outside our family could have possibly overheard. The laughter in the room slowly died down, replaced by an uncomfortable silence. The parents, who had initially been amused, now exchanged uneasy glances. My mom, usually so outgoing, looked visibly uncomfortable. The clown, however, seemed oblivious to the shift in atmosphere. His painted smile remained fixed. His eyes, though hidden behind thick makeup, seemed to gleam with an unsettling knowingness. He then started a game, a twisted version of Truth or Dare. But instead of asking us to reveal secrets, he would state a secret about one of us, and then dare us to deny it. He knew about the small acts of mischief, the whispered crushes, the petty jealousies that festered beneath the surface of our innocent childhoods. Each revelation was met with gasps and whispers, and the party, once a joyous celebration, was rapidly descending into a tense, uncomfortable interrogation. My mom finally stepped in, her voice strained. She tried to politely end his performance, citing time constraints. The clown, however, just chuckled, a low guttural sound that sent shivers down my spine. He looked directly at me, his painted eyes seeming to bore into my soul. "Happy birthday, little one," he said, his voice losing its jovial tone, becoming something cold and flat. "Remember, secrets always come out in the end." He then packed up his meager props, his movements slow and deliberate, and walked out of the hall without another word. The moment he was gone, a collective sigh of relief swept through the room. The party was effectively over. Parents quickly gathered their children, their faces etched with concern, and left. My parents tried to make light of it, saying he was just a strange character, a little too good at his job. But I knew better. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every shadow seemed to hold a hidden figure. Every creak of the house sounded like his heavy footsteps. I kept replaying his words in my head, his unsettling knowledge of our private lives. The next day, my parents tried to contact the agency. They had booked him through, but the number was disconnected. The friend who had recommended him claimed she had never heard of such a clown. It was as if he had simply vanished, leaving behind only a trail of unsettling memories. Years later, I still get a cold knot in my stomach when I see a clown. The painted smile, the exaggerated features, they no longer evoke joy, but a profound sense of unease. I learned that day that some secrets are best left buried, and some performances are best left unseen. And I often wonder, who was that clown? And how did he know so much about us? The memory of my 10th birthday, once a beacon of childhood joy, is now forever tainted by the chilling presence of the clown who knew too much, a silent, painted reminder that some truths are better left unspoken. The clown's departure left a void, a chilling silence that was more unsettling than his presence. The party, which had been so full of life, was now a hollow echo of what it should have been. My parents, trying to salvage the day, suggested we play some games, but the enthusiasm was gone. The kids were subdued, their faces etched with a mixture of fear and confusion. The clown's words had planted seeds of doubt and suspicion, turning friends against each other. The secrets he had revealed, once whispered in confidence, were now out in the open, raw and exposed. That night, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying the clown's performance in my head. His painted smile, his knowing eyes, his chilling words. It was as if he had peeled back the layers of our innocent childhoods, revealing the darkness that lurked beneath. I started to question everything, everyone. Was Timmy really my friend, or was he just pretending? Did Sarah secretly hate me? The clown had turned my world upside down, replacing trust with suspicion, joy with fear. I tried to talk to my parents about it, to explain the profound sense of unease that had settled over me. They tried to reassure me, saying he was just a strange man, a performer who had taken his act too far. But I knew it was more than that. The things he knew, the secrets he had revealed, they were too specific, too personal. It was as if he had access to our innermost thoughts, our deepest fears. I started to do some research, trying to find any information about this mysterious clown. I scoured the internet, looking for reviews, for any mention of a clown who knew too much. I found nothing. It was as if he had simply materialized for my birthday party, and then vanished without a trace. The agency my parents had booked him through was a dead end, the number disconnected, the website gone. It was a ghost company, a phantom agency, that had existed only to bring this unsettling performer into our lives. Years later, I still think about that clown. I still wonder who he was, and how he knew so much about us. Was he a master of cold reading, a skilled manipulator who could glean information from subtle cues? Or was he something else, something more sinister? The memory of my 10th birthday is a constant reminder that some things are better left unknown, and some secrets are better left buried. And sometimes, when I see a clown, I still feel a cold knot of fear in my stomach, and I wonder if he's still out there, somewhere, collecting secrets, waiting for his next performance. Story 2. The Uninvited Guest. My cousin Sarah was turning 7, and her parents had decided to throw her a lavish birthday party at a local indoor play center. It was a chaotic, colorful wonderland of ball pits, slides, and climbing structures. The guest list was extensive, encompassing all of Sarah's classmates, family, friends, and a few distant relatives. The place was packed, a cacophony of children's laughter and excited screams. Everything was going as planned, until the cake dud. As the staff brought out the enormous, brightly decorated cake, everyone gathered around, singing happy birthday. Sarah, beaming, was about to blow out the candles when a hush fell over the crowd. Standing at the edge of the gathering, a few feet from the cake, was a girl. She looked to be about Sarah's age, maybe a little older, with long, dark hair that obscured most of her face. She was wearing a simple, faded white dress, and her eyes, when she finally looked up, were wide and unnervingly dark. She wasn't a guest. No one recognized her. Sarah's mom, a kind and welcoming woman, approached the girl, asking if she was lost, or if she was with someone. The girl just stared, her dark eyes unblinking. She didn't speak, didn't move, just stood there, a silent, unsettling presence amidst the joyous chaos. The party, which had been so vibrant just moments before, now felt heavy, the air thick, with an unspoken tension. The children, sensing the shift, grew quiet, their excited chatter replaced by nervous whispers. Suddenly, the girl pointed a thin, pale finger at Sarah. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. It was as if she was trying to speak, but her voice was trapped. A chill ran down my spine. It was an unsettling gesture, a silent accusation. Sarah, who had been so happy just moments before, now looked terrified, clutching her mom's hand tightly. The uninvited guest then turned, slowly, deliberately, and walked away, disappearing into the maze of play structures. Sarah's mom tried to follow, but the girl was gone, as if she had simply dissolved into the air. The party resumed, but the festive atmosphere was gone. The children were subdued, the parents uneasy. The cake was cut, presents were opened, but the joy had been replaced by a lingering sense of unease. Sarah, usually so boisterous, was quiet and withdrawn for the rest of the day. She kept glancing towards the entrance of the play center, as if expecting the girl to reappear. Later that evening, after everyone had left, Sarah's parents tried to find out who the girl was. They checked with the play center staff, reviewed the security footage, but there was no trace of her. She simply wasn't there. The security cameras showed everyone else, the parents, the children, the staff, but the girl in the white dress was nowhere to be seen. It was as if she had never existed, a phantom presence that had materialized only for a few unsettling moments. Sarah, however, never forgot her. For weeks, she would talk about the dark-eyed girl, drawing unsettling pictures of her, always, with that same accusing finger pointed. She started having nightmares, waking up screaming about a girl who wanted her cake, a girl who wanted her birthday. Her parents eventually sought professional help, but the girl remained a vivid, terrifying memory for Sarah. Years later, Sarah still avoids large gatherings, especially birthday parties. The memory of the uninvited guest, the silent accusation, the unnervingly dark eyes, still haunts her. She often wonders who that girl was, and why she chose Sarah's birthday to make her unsettling appearance. And sometimes, when she's alone, she still feels a cold presence, a silent stare, and she wonders if the uninvited guest is still out there, forever seeking a party to disrupt, a birthday to claim. The image of the girl in the white dress, her dark, unblinking eyes, and that silent, accusing finger, became a recurring nightmare for Sarah. She would wake up screaming, convinced the girl was in her room, reaching for her. Her parents, desperate to help, took her to therapists, child psychologists, even a local priest. But nothing seemed to alleviate her terror. The girl was a phantom, a memory that refused to fade, a silent tormentor that had invaded Sarah's innocent world. Sarah started to avoid anything that reminded her of the party. She refused to go to other children's birthdays. She wouldn't eat cake, and the sight of a ball pit would send her into a panic attack. Her childhood, once so vibrant and carefree, was now overshadowed by the lingering presence of the uninvited guest. Her parents, in a desperate attempt to find answers, revisited the play center, spoke to every staff member, and meticulously reviewed the security footage again. But the girl remained invisible to the cameras, a chilling confirmation that she was not of this world. One evening, Sarah was playing in her room, and her parents heard a blood-curdling scream. They rushed in to find her huddled in a corner, pointing a trembling finger at her window. Outside, pressed against the glass, was a faint, almost translucent image of the girl in the white dress. Her dark eyes fixed on Sarah, her lips moving in a silent, accusatory manner. It was only for a second, a fleeting glimpse, but it was enough. Sarah's parents, who had always tried to rationalize her fears, were now confronted with an undeniable truth. The girl was real, and she was still there. They moved shortly after, leaving behind the house, the play center, and the terrifying memories. They hoped the new environment would bring peace, but the uninvited guest had already taken root in Sarah's mind. Years later, Sarah, now an adult, still carries the scars of that birthday party. She still avoids large gatherings, and the sight of a child in a white dress sends shivers down her spine. She often wonders who that girl was, and why she chose Sarah's birthday to make her unsettling appearance. Was she a lost soul, seeking a playmate? Or something more sinister, a malevolent entity that fed on the joy of others? The questions remain unanswered, and the memory of the uninvited guest, the silent accusation, the unnervingly dark eyes, still haunts her, a chilling reminder that some parties, once crashed, can never truly be forgotten. Story 3. The Gift That Kept On Giving. It was my little brother, Leo's 5th birthday. He was obsessed with vintage toys, particularly old wind-up automatons. My parents, always eager to indulge his quirky interests, had scoured antique shops for weeks, finally finding what they thought was the perfect gift, a meticulously crafted wooden clown, about a foot tall, that would dance and play a jaunty tune when wound. It was beautiful, in a slightly unsettling way, with its painted smile and glassy eyes. Leo was ecstatic. He immediately wound it up, and the clown began its jerky dance, its tinny music filling the living room. All the kids at the party were fascinated, watching its repetitive movements with wide eyes. But as the day wore on, and the clown continued its performance, a subtle unease began to settle over me. Its painted smile seemed to widen, its glassy eyes seemed to follow me, and the jaunty tune, once charming, now felt mocking, almost sinister. That night, after the party, Leo insisted on sleeping with the clown on his bedside table. I tried to convince him to put it away, but he was adamant. I went to bed, a strange feeling of dread in my stomach. I woke up a few hours later to the sound of the clown's music. It was playing, faintly, from Leo's room. I checked the time. It was 3 a.m. I knew Leo couldn't have wound it up in his sleep. I crept to his room and peered inside. Leo was fast asleep, but the clown was dancing, its small wooden feet tapping a silent rhythm on the table. Its eyes, however, were not fixed on the ceiling, but on Leo, a silent, unblinking stare. I quickly wound it down, and the music stopped. I placed it in a drawer, hoping to put an end to its unsettling nightly performances. But it was no use. The next night, the music started again, this time from inside the drawer. And the night after that, I found the clown sitting on Leo's chest, its painted smile inches from his sleeping face. Leo started having nightmares, screaming about a clown that wouldn't stop dancing, a clown that watched him sleep. My parents, initially dismissive, grew concerned. They tried to get rid of the clown. They put it in the attic, but it would reappear in Leo's room. They tried to throw it away, but it would be found on the doorstep the next morning. It was as if the clown was sentient, determined to remain. With Leo, its chosen companion, the jaunty tune became a constant presence in our house, a faint, tinny melody that would drift from unexpected places, always at the most unsettling times. One evening, as we were having dinner, the clown's music started playing from the living room. My dad, frustrated, went to turn it off. He came back a few minutes later, his face pale. He said the clown was gone. We searched the house, but it was nowhere to be found. We thought, finally, we were rid of it. But then, a few days later, a package arrived. It was a small, wooden box, intricately carved. Inside, nestled on a bed of velvet, was a miniature version of the clown, its painted smile as wide and unsettling as the original, and attached to it, a small handwritten note. "You can't get rid of me that easily. I'm always here to celebrate." We never saw the original clown again, but the miniature one became a permanent, unsettling fixture in our lives. It would appear in unexpected places, its music playing at random times, always a silent reminder of the gift that kept on giving. Leo, now an adult, still has a profound aversion to clowns, and the sound of a music box sends shivers down his spine. He knows that some gifts, once given, can never truly be returned, and some celebrations, once tainted, can never truly be forgotten. The miniature clown, a silent, unsettling reminder of its larger counterpart, became a constant source of dread in our home. It would appear in the most unexpected places: on my pillow, in the refrigerator, even in the shower. Its tinny music would start playing at random times, often in the dead of night, a faint mocking melody that seemed to echo in the silence. Leo, my brother, grew increasingly withdrawn, his once vibrant personality replaced by a quiet, almost melancholic demeanor. He stopped playing with his other toys, his eyes always drawn to the miniature clown, as if under its spell. My parents, desperate to break the cycle, consulted with various experts, child psychologists, paranormal investigators, even a local priest. The psychologists suggested it was a manifestation of Leo's anxiety. The paranormal investigators spoke of residual energy, and the priest performed a blessing, but nothing seemed to deter the clown. It was as if it was immune to all attempts to banish it, a malevolent entity that had chosen Leo as its permanent companion. One evening, as we were all gathered in the living room, the miniature clown, which had been placed on the mantelpiece, suddenly began to dance. Its small wooden feet tapped a silent rhythm, and its painted smile seemed to widen, its glassy eyes fixed on Leo. Then, its head slowly turned, its gaze sweeping across each of us, a silent, unsettling acknowledgement. And then, it began to speak. Not in a tinny, mechanical voice, but in a low, guttural whisper that seemed to emanate from the very air around it. "You can't escape me," it rasped, its voice filled with a profound, ancient malice. "I'm always here to celebrate." We screamed. My dad, in a fit of desperate rage, grabbed the clown and smashed it against the wall, splintering the wood, shattering the glassy eyes. The music stopped. The whispering ceased. The air in the room grew warm, and for the first time in months, we felt a sense of peace. We gathered the shattered pieces and burned them in the fireplace, watching as the flames consumed the wood, the paint, the unsettling smile. We thought it was over, but it wasn't. A few days later, a package arrived. It was a small, intricately carved wooden box. Inside, nestled on a bed of velvet, was a single, perfectly preserved button eye. It was the same button eye that had been missing from the original clown, the one that had given it that unsettling wink. And attached to it, a small handwritten note. "You can't get rid of me that easily. I'm always here to celebrate." We never saw the clown again, but the button eye became a permanent, unsettling fixture in our lives. It would appear in unexpected places, a silent, unblinking reminder of the gift that kept on giving. Leo, now an adult, still has a profound aversion to clowns, and the sight of a single button sends shivers down his spine. He knows that some gifts, once given, can never truly be returned, and some celebrations, once tainted, can never truly be forgotten. And he often wonders if the clown is still out there, somewhere, in another form, waiting for its next birthday, its next victim.